So here we are, Parshas Bamidbar, and the threshold taking us into the final lap, the final week, as we get ready to warmly embrace Zaman Matan Torah Senud Chag HaShavuos Haba Leinu L'Tova. And as we mentioned many times, and you could see it in the listing that appears in the 10th volume of Encyclopedia Talmudis, a listing of all the Haftorahs that are laid week after week by Ashkenazim, by Sfardim, by Chabad, by Teimanim, Eidut Mizrach, you name it. And as we pointed out, even though you're right, this Shabbos we lay Marcha Chodesh because of Rosh Chodesh Sivan, coinciding with Yom HaRishon, with Sunday. But in a typical year, we lay from Hosea in the Treyasar, from Perek Beis, that talks about V'nikmetzu, gathering all Klal Yisrael together. And fascinatingly enough, writes Rabbi Yehuda Shaviv in his Sefer Bein Haftorah LaParsha. If you look at the 10th krach of Encyclopedia Talmudis, you'll see that dafka once a year, only one time and one time only, my dear friends, can all of Klal Yisrael agree to go into the last Shabbos before Shavuos, as we want to echo and re-experience and reenact that gewaldige attainment, that status of Eytan Shom Yisrael Negen Har Kishecha B'Leiv Echad. It's the one time and one time only that we lay in exactly the same Haftorah, the precise same narrative, the selection taken from the Sefer HaNevi'im, the Book of Prophets, from Hosea Perek Beis, that describes the merging, the fusion of all the different groups, the segments of Klal Yisrael. We get together biyachad, v'nikmetzu, the Bnei Yisrael, the Bnei Ephraim, we come together as one. And thus the Haftorah that's laid in a regular year is taken from Hosea, because that is all about the hachana, the preparation going into Shavuos. We all have to be together as one, forming one cohesive Am Loshen Im, togetherness, a unified, harmonious body, a nation called Am Yisrael. And thus, it's the only time and the most appropriate of all times, wherein everybody running the gamuts, Misnagdim, Chasidim, Ashkenazim, Sfardim, Teimanim, Eidut Mizrach, Chabad, and Satmar, every single year lays the same exact Haftarah, talking and describing about Klal Yisrael coming together, and we start at the same exact place, and we end at the same exact place, because that's how we get ready for Shavuos. The only way to be worthy recipients of Torah Akadosha, as we demonstrate to the Almighty above that we love Klal Yisrael and we're together as one, and we want to be a Guf Sholem and a Neshama Achas Kishecha B'Leiv Echad. We want to be Kol Yisrael Ravim Zebas. And how do we do that? Only Al Yadei, encircling the Torah. Now let's turn our attention to a beautiful piece, the first Ketal, the first Dvar Torah, penned by Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky in his wonderful work, Emes Yaakov, at the beginning of this week's Parsha, Parshas Bamidbar. And Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky wonders, here we have the minyan, the Mispar of Bnei Yisrael, and we're being Mesader the Shvotim, we're counting Ruvain and Shimon and Gad. Why? It's following this Seder HaDegolim, how they were going to travel, each one according to his flag. L'chora Tamua, ponders Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, Emes Yaakov. And we know that from the moment the Jewish people already left the land of Egypt, they already began their trek, their sojourn in the desert. They were walking already out Savosam. Amela, if they were already walking, each one according to his flag. And then in the end of the day, L'chaira, what's the chiddush of this week's parsha, the dafka now? We counting Klal Yisrael, bringing them together. What's the idea here? Explains Rabbi Yaakov. That's when you have the Golem, when each tribe has its own flag, and as the Medrash in Bamidbar Rabbah points out, they have their own Seva Miyuchad, their own respective color. They had their own diagram, their own animal to which they corresponded. That signified the distinctions between all the different Shvatim, the disparity, the differences between their kochos, because every Shevet has a different gift. They all had their own color, their own Seva, their own Tziyur that appeared on the flag. Harach of Yaakov Kamenetsky, Nimtza L'chora HaDegolim, that would be Gorim for Pirat Alavovis. If everybody has their own flag and their own color and their own symbol, doesn't that engender, doesn't that trigger a separation, a distinction drawn between the various groups within the Jewish camp? Right, Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, But you know when they're going to travel now, according to the Degolim, you know when we're going to count them and bring them together as one? Only when they encircled Maimon Har Sinai, when they now have the reenactment on a yom-yomi and a day-to-day basis of reenacting Maimon Har Sinai Keshechem B'Leivechad. And when they travel in the desert now, when they're going to have a Mishkan, they have a Mishkan and everybody surrounds the Mishkan. Right of Yaakov, they have a Merkaz Echad, one centerpiece, one hinge upon which revolves the unity, the harmonious group of Klal Yisrael. Hainu a Mishkan kulam chonim isav of the Mishkan. We all encircle the Mishkan and the Oren HaBris and the Luchos there in the middle of the Mishkan, that grand edifice called the Tabernacle. We encircle the Torah Kadosha. We encircle the Mishkan. As long as Klal Yisrael has a focus that we all share, and we all can encamp encircling that holy, that sacred Mishkan, then we could go out and journey kafi kol echad ve'echad kafi kol chosav, in accordance with your strengths, your myriad aptitudes, your abilities, your God-given gifts that He has bestowed upon you. Once we have a centerpiece around which all of our lives revolve, kol hazman shlehukam hamishkan, there was no merkaz ruchani. Then what? Then there was only one degel. When would we go and journey kafi, all our respective degolim with our own colors, our own kokos, our own animals, our own tziyurim that adorned those respective flags? Only after the Akamas HaMishkan, then Eschilu L'Sasik B'Degolim. Yes, we might have traveled. Why do we wait until now to count and to give Degolim? Only once we have a centerpiece. Why? Because Klal Yisrael, that is the Metzias. The Metzias Amitis is not that we're supposed to be the same. We don't dress the same. We don't look the same. We don't have to act the same. And indeed, we're not given the same God-given talents. At the end of the day, what unites us? The Torah, the Mishkan, the Beis HaMikdash. That's what unites us. But God says, I never want you to ignore the differences and the different talents that you will have. When we journey through Kriyas Yamsuf, 12 separate alleyways, we travel Kefi Yud Bei Shvatim. Everybody in his own little alley, in his own little mavo, his own misilah. Why? To highlight yet again, every shevet had its own koach hamiyuchad. Every shevet had its own talents, its own gifts to which they could contribute to Klal Yisrael. Never ignore the value of a shevet. And indeed, as the Mispar clearly indicates in the pages of this week's parsha, as the HaKadosh should on this point out, it's a mispar shemos legugulosab. Everybody according to his head, as the Rabban notes, everybody was counted as an individual. The Alshach tells us there's a shame, a name, and a koach, and a tafkin mesuyam, a gift, a job, a mission, a task in life that was given to you, to Reuven, to Shimon, to Levi. And nobody has a duplicate tafkin. Everyone has their own unique job and mission in life. Not only is each shevet miyuchad, every single year, kol echad ve'echad b'Yisrael, addressed singularly by none other than Moshe Rabbeinu, than the Gadol, the Tzaddik Adar. Everybody's a yochid, everybody's an individual, but now what we have to take our collective kochos, bring them together, consolidate them all, and doing Laman Hashem Yisbarach to be Marba Kvod Shamayim every day of our lives. Rabbi Yechiel Yitzchak Per, the wonderful Rosh Yeshiva of Yeshiva Derech Eytan of our local Yeshiva Farakwe, he penned a beautiful Dvar Torah this week. He writes many beautiful Divrei Torah, and this week especially touched my heart, because Repair also is bothered that why did we have a concept until we got to the Yom Tov of a Tu B'Av. Tu B'Av, where the Gemara relates in Tainis, Taflam and Amid Beis, one of the simchas, one of the aspects of joy and exhilaration that filled our hearts, come a Tu B'Av, 15th day of the month of Av, was now they decreed that the Shvatim were able to intermarry one with the next. That means until that point in time, they weren't just 12 tribes, they were so distinct, and the distinctions were clearly reinforced by what? That not only do you have your own degel, you travel with your shevet, your own color, your own symbol, your own animal, but they weren't even allowed originally to go and marry one with the next. What's going on here? Why not? What happened to Achdus? Explains Rabbi Yechiel Per Shlita as follows. There's an important lesson for separation, and it takes us to the year 1940. After the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact had divided Poland between Russia and Germany, Russia restored the city of Vilna to Lithuania, which they had not yet invaded at the time. They did this in order to excuse their swallowing up of half of Poland by claiming that they were merely restoring the original borders. At that time, Rav Chaim Ozer Gadzensky Zatzal was the leader of the Goda Hador and the Managador. And he sent the message that all the yeshivas that were currently in Poland, come move over now in 1940. Come and move to my city, Vilna, and I'll take care of you. And that's exactly what he did. He took the achrayas, he took the yoke on his shoulders and saying, I'm going to sustain and support you. So he set up yeshivas all in their own mokum, Nesuya, mokum, Yuchad, all throughout Vilna and in the neighboring towns. It was very difficult to find adequate place for all the various yeshivas, and clearly there were many yeshivas that could easily have been grouped together in one building. And yet, that's not what Rabbi Chaim Ozer did. He insisted in finding a separate, distinct, unique location for each and every yeshiva that relocated from Poland to Vilna. He explained that every yeshiva has its own tzivyon, its own unique coloration, its own style, and the individuality of every single yeshiva must be preserved. Every yeshiva has its own derech halimud, its own rosh yeshivas, their own mahalech and learning, their own derech hamusar, their own approach to Yiddishkeit, their own eskufas adas, and we have to validate the concerns and the approaches of every other yeshiva, even if they're not our own. I'm not going to merge and take yeshivas and even put them in the same building, even though that would have facilitated his job enormously. What did he do? He had every yeshiva camped, situated in its own separate building. Because it explains Rabbi, we need separate streams within Yiddishkeit. We need that Klal Yisrael needs Hasidim, and we need those who are not Hasidim. And we need to know there are others out there who don't look like we do, who don't dress like we do. And that is what Klal Yisrael is all about. We can't be the same. Different minhagim, different approaches, a different Masorah. And closes the Rosh Hashiva. We must recognize there are many Yidden who don't have our customs. And the diversity of our various disparate minhagim, that itself is our strength. It is this diversity which the Torah established by separating the Shvatim into 12 separate channels, 12 separate ways of life, with 12 different kochos and missions in life. And in a similar vein, and he closes with this line, Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky once said to me, writes the Rosh Hashiva, that Yidden must not all hold the same way. It's important that Yidden are different. That's the beauty of Klal Yisrael. Adds Rav Zalman Sorotskin in his Zayim LaTorah. Can you imagine? He had millions of people, 600,000 men between the ages of 20 and 60, 2.5, 3 million people altogether. And you find they complained about certain things in the Midbar. They complained they had the Slav. They complained about the Mon. They complained Korach. They had so many things to complain about. And yet nobody complained. I feel squashed. Why do I have to be in this Shevet? Why can't I be in that Shevet? We don't find people complaining. Can I move over to another Shevet? Why? Right, so Zalman Sorotskin. Because in the end of the day, they respect it. That we all have our own job, our own tafkid. If I'm not in Shevet Yehuda Malchus, then there's a reason why I have to be in Shevet Osher. I want to be in Shevet Levi, and said, no, there's a reason. You're Reuven, you're Shimon. That's his gevaldik of the milas of Klal Yisrael. We never complained about our yichus, about the fact that we came from this Shevet. We have our own unique job. That's how you can build a Mishkan, as Rav Yaakov himself explained, because we encircled collectively around the same merkaz haruchani, that centerpiece, the hinge upon which all of our lives revolved and continue to revolve. And that's the Torah HaKadosha, the Luchos, the Oren HaBris, the Sefer HaBris. That's what brings Klal Yisrael together. And Mela, it's a mispar of Shemus to highlight the Chashivas of Kol Yochad V'Yochad. That's Klal Yisrael coming together. Now, we mentioned many times in the past, one of my favorite sayings that I've heard from Rosh Weiss, the picture of a perfect Jew is someone who knows how to learn like the Litvish Rosh Hashivas, daven like the Hasidic Rebbes, the Kavod Torah of the Olam HaSfaradim, the Yashrus of the Yekes, and some added on, and the Emunah Pshuta of the Hungarian Jews, and some added on, the Tzipis of the Yeshua, of the Tziyonim. But there's more than that. We have other groups in Klal Yisrael. And someone just told me 2 weeks ago in the name of Rabbi Judah Michel, I want to run take of Aldiga. We know that Bocha Vokuk V'Midan Alachas, all 613 mitzvahs, can come down to Chavakuk's famous posuk and Perek Beis posuk Dalet Tzadik V'Mnoshe Yichye. You know, Hashem wants us to live Emunah. Emunah brings together Klal, so we shared the same Emunah. We grew up and we died with the same posuk of Shema Yisrael. Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad in our lips. And who taught us that? That Klal Yisrael is gathered together al Yadei their Emunah. We believe in the same God. We believe in the same Torah. That's Chavakuk? No coincidence. Explain to Judah Michelle what's Chavakuk, Rosh Tevis. Ches, Beis, Kuf, Vav, and Kuf. The Ches stands for Chabad. The Beis stands for Breslev. We need Breslev too. Yes, even the no, we need everybody. Ches Chabad, Beis Breslev. And then we have the Kuf, Cook. We need the Tziyonim. And we need Avas Eretz the students of Rav Cook. So what's the remaining Vav and Kuf? He said, V'Kalbach. V'Kalbach, we also need those who follow Shlomo Kalbach, those who are a little more Leibedik. At the end of the day, we need the Litvishes, and we need the Hasidishes, and the Hungarian Jews, and the Sfardim, and we need the Yekes, and yes, and we need Chabad, and we need Breslev, and we need the Kokeniks, we need Avas Eretz Yisrael, the disciples of Rav Kook Zatzal, and we need the Kalbachlers, we need the Kalbachers, we need everybody in Klal Yisrael. There's a mix, and that's what makes us so beautiful, so geschmack, that you bring us all together like the Chelbana. You can have even sometimes things that don't smell right, but when you mix all the spices, the ketoras together, that's what escapes din. That's what removes his masalik, the din and the kitchug me'aleinu. It's when Klal Yisrael comes together b'yachad. That's Chavakuk. That's what brings all the mitzvahs together. His amunah and the fact that we all have the same Shema Yisrael and the same Torah and the same Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. That ideology and theology is good for precisely what unites us. That we're all in Am Echad. We're all together. Yes, around the Mishkan, yes, around the Beis HaMikdash, and even B'Shas, our goal is our long, harsh, and bitter exile. We want to get back. We have to be Masakin, the Sineschin, and we got to be together as one. So I just got off the phone recently with my Yedin Emon, our former assistant Rav, here in the White Shore, Rabbi Shai Shechter Shlita, now the Rosh Beis Medrash, Young Israel Woodmere. And he was telling me how we know the Novominsker Rebbe, Zechat Tzadik Levracha, just passed away a couple of weeks back. The Novominsker Rebbe was one time speaking with Rosh Shechter's Rebbe, Rav Asher Weiss Shlita. And Rosh Shechter, very close with his Rebbe, Rav Asher Weiss, he went once to meet him and he told him, I'm going to speak with the Novominsker Rebbe. He was speaking with the Novominsker Rebbe. In walked Rosh Shechter, and the Novominsker Rebbe turned to Rosh Weiss and said, who is this? And he said, this here is Rabbi Shai Shechter. He's the son of the renowned Rabbi Hershel Shechter, the Rosh Hashiva of Yeshiva Sabeda Yitzhak Achon. And the Novominsker says, Rabbi Weiss, you don't need to tell me, because Rabbi Hershel Shechter and I are best friends. The Novominsker Rebbe, who was the Rosh, the Nasi of Agudas Yisrael of America, and he told Rav Asher Weiss, explained to him, Shai Shechter, that Rav Hershel Shechter and him were best friends when he was the Rosh Hashiva and the Breuers. And a Rav in Washington Heights, he had a shiur. And when it came time to take over Novominsk and to move to Brooklyn, so the Novominsker Rebbe needed someone to take over his very successful weekly shiur. He said, who's the biggest Talmid Chacham in Washington Heights that I could pick to take over, to be my successor, to say this well-attended shiur? Let me pick the biggest Talmid Chacham. And who was that? Rav Hershel Shechter. And he picked Rav Hershel Shechter to say over the shiur, and he told Rav Asher Weiss that sometimes best friends, they don't always meet, they don't always get together, but when it comes time to a simcha, they always invite each other. The Novominsker Rebbe said, I invite Rav Hershel Shechter and his Rebbetzin to all my family simchas, and likewise their love and their yedidus hane'amonah Nitzchias was always reciprocated, because Rav Shechter would invite the Novominsker Rebbe to all his family simchas. Best friends, you don't need to talk frequently. You don't need to even get together all that often. But best friends, because they were mashiv each other. That's the beauty of Klal Yisrael. You could be OU, you could be Aguda. The key is what? But you know how to get along. And with that we close. Our Rabbi Yonasan Eifshitz would say, what's a machlokas l'shem Shemayim? Shammai and Hillel. Machlokas in dispute after dispute, bandied all throughout the Mishnayos, the Shisha Sunday Mishnah. Hillel and Shammai. But writes Rabbi Yonasan Eifshitz and Yaros Davash, they were best friends behind the scenes. They loved each other. They argued l'shem Shemayim, but they respected their own separate views. Klal Yisrael, that's what happened by Ben Sinai. As Chaim Yaakov Govach pointed out, what shvach is this? Now they got together. Mashma clearly indicating that until now they were fighting. They wouldn't stop fighting. They were always working and striving towards the MS. They were always working together, being mashiv. We went through Kriyas Yamsuf together as one. And we went through Kriyas Yamsuf together in our own separate alleyways, our own separate, distinct, unique paths. Why? Because as we travel in the desert, you have a flag and you have a color and you have your mission, but we can be best friends. We can love one another. and we could get along. And that's Baruch Hashem, we are moving together in the 5 Towns Farakwe community. And you could have many kehillas, many shuls following the protocol and the guidelines, clearly delineated and outlined by a Good Soul of America. And you could have guidelines coming out of the OU and the RCA under the auspices of Hershel Schechter and Mordechai Willig. These Gedolei Poskim paskening for them. And the beauty of our community is you can follow the Aguda guidelines if you wish. You can follow the OU guidelines and Elu Ve'elu Dirlakim Chayin. They're so similar, and even when it comes to the differences, we never stop loving one another and caring for one another and working together behind the scenes, because that's the beauty of Klai. So that's what gives Hashem nachas. You bring everybody to the table, you learn to get along, and you say we can respect our differences. Elu Ve'elu, they're both Divrei Elokim Chayim. Let's give Hashem the nachas ruach he so deserves. Let's show him how much we love one another. Every Yid is indeed our best friend. Let's love one another and bring about Mashiach Tzidkenu with an arvus and ava and an achva and a sholem and yedidus to get together once and for all. And in binyan by a shlishi, that we could surround ourselves around the luchas sa'idus, the oren abris once again, and be connected to the Eibishter like never before. Have an awesome, meaningful, uplifting Shabbos.